Back on Race for the White House. If you want to know how voters are feeling about the current state of the country, just take a look at this. The latest New York Times CBS News poll finds just 7% say that America is moving in the right direction. Just 7%, while 89% say it is on the wrong track. New polling information coming out just moments ago. But which candidate is showing the kind of leadership that can get the country back on track? Voters in two key battleground states are split on who they want in the White House. In Virginia, a Mason-Dixon poll shows McCain 48%, Obama 45%, within the margin of error. And in North Carolina, a solidly Republican state, a WSOC-TV poll shows McCain at 48%, Obama at 46%. That's also within the margin of error. Joining me now for a face-off are two senators from these hotly contested battleground states, Jim Webb, Democratic senator from Virginia and an Obama supporter, and Richard Burr, Republican senator from North Carolina and a McCain supporter. Senators, welcome both.
Great, David. Thanks to be with you.
Senator Webb, let me start with you. The key question now about the economy is who's got the leadership and the ideas to manage what is going to be an awfully difficult problem, even after all the work of this administration to shore up this financial crisis. Make the case, as you see it, for Obama to lead the country out of what could be a fairly deep recession.
Well, I think that listening to the discussion you had before we came on, the key indicators for the future aren't whether one plan or the other is better, but how we're going to deal with the situation writ large. What we need to do, given the legislation that was just voted out of the Congress recently, is to make sure we have oversight over the Secretary of the Treasury, to make sure that we have caps on executive compensation, to make sure that we re-regulate an economy that was dramatically deregulated, and to make sure that we have an upside for the American taxpayer with any of these programs that go forward. And if you look at those criteria, I think it's pretty clear that Senator Obama would be the one to bring it about.
And Senator Burr, make the case for John McCain on the economy.
David, it's simple. If you raise taxes on the most likely in the United States to create jobs, they're not going to create jobs, and we're not going to come out of a recession. John McCain's got the right formula, and that's to either keep taxes where they are or make reductions where it really fuels investment and job creation. I'm convinced that we've got a very distinct choice in November as to whether we want to come out of recession or not.
And you really think that by increasing the marginal tax rates on those who pay the most taxes, that to do that, which is what Obama is suggesting, that's actually going to kill job creation? It's going to deepen the recession?
David, included in that 5% that Senator Obama talks about is a majority of small business in this country. If you want to discourage them from growing and making money, tell them if they cross the $250,000 threshold that you're going to severely tax them so you can redistribute that money to somebody that wasn't as successful. It's really small business in this country that creates a majority of our jobs and will fuel our exit from recession.
Senator Webb, let me ask you, this is a question for both of you on different sides of the aisle, but it is striking. Here we are in this election cycle in 2008, where Virginia, a state that has not gone for a Democrat since 1964, and North Carolina, which George Bush won by double digits in the last two cycles, are now battleground states. How did we get to this point in this cycle where they are both hotly contested states? Senator Webb?
Well, first of all, we have a lot of demographic shifts in Virginia with in-migration in Northern Virginia, which is very high-tech, and a lot of people from outside the region coming in. We have a lot of people who become very excited and animated during this election cycle and are going to be voting for the first time. We've got a candidate, I believe, in Barack Obama, who has shown the leadership and the temperament that people are looking for in this period, which is going to be very difficult for us, both in terms of foreign policy and also economic policy. So if you take that combination together, Virginia is demographically sort of a microcosm of the country. And right. If Barack Obama does well down in South Central and South Side Virginia, which has lost such a high number of manufacturing jobs over the last 8 years, you're going to see Barack Obama win Virginia.
And Senator Burr, what's happened in North Carolina that it would be so close?
Well, David, if John Kerry spent $30 million in North Carolina, George Bush wouldn't have won by 12 points. And Barack Obama is more liberal than John Kerry. I think this is going to change in the 20 days going up to this election, and you're going to see North Carolinians firm up their support for John McCain based upon how we have historically done. I remind you, Senator Helms never won a race by more than 1.5 points in North Carolina. So I would always expect a race where somebody spends that type of money to be competitive.
Let me ask you about the issue of race and what impact it's going to have on voters in both these states. Karen Tumulty reported in Time magazine this week that Virginia Republican Chairman Jeffrey Frederick told volunteers to compare Barack Obama to Osama bin Laden. He told them this, that he climbed atop a folding chair to give 30 campaign volunteers, this is how it was reported in Time magazine, who are about to go canvassing door to door. Their talking points, for instance, the connection between Barack Obama and Osama bin Laden. Both have friends that bombed the Pentagon, he said. That is scary. Are tactics like that, Senator Burr, likely to have an impact on white voters in your state and in Virginia when it comes to evaluating Senator Obama? Is there a connection between what they're talking about is William Ayers and Osama bin Laden, making that connection that ultimately leads people to make a racist judgment about Barack Obama and not vote for him?
Well, David, I'll let Jim Webb talk about Virginia and anybody in Virginia. North Carolina, that's not happening. John McCain is up in the polls because his vision of where he wants to take the country is more consistent with the conservative views of North Carolinians. And that's not just Republicans, it's Democrats and independents.
Senator Webb?
I think these types of attacks are a reason that people are going to gravitate towards Senator Obama, not because of the racist nature of them, but because they've become comfortable with the way that Senator Obama has handled them. He has shown a pretty even keel over the past 19 months when people have said those sorts of things about him, and I think that sort of temperament and judgment is what people are looking for. And that's the greatest contrast between Barack Obama and John McCain, who's a longtime friend of mine. I think if you look at his sense of judgment, all you have to do is examine the person that he has chosen for his vice presidential candidate and the process that he went through compared to what Senator Obama went through to get a candidate that we can all be comfortable with as vice president, who might be able to step in and fill the shoes of the president.
All right, I'm going to leave it there. Senator Jim Webb of Virginia, Senator Richard Burr of North Carolina. Really appreciate your time from both of you tonight.
Thank you.